Russia is facing severe sanctions by Western allies after invading Ukraine. The United States has targeted Russia's financial system, blocking assets of large Russian banks, imposing export controls on Russia's high-tech needs, and sanctioning its business oligarchs. The European Union imposed 5-pronged economic sanctions against Russia, targeting its financial, energy and transport sectors. The EU will freeze Russian assets in the bloc and halt its banks' access to European financial markets, and targeting 70% of Russian banking markets. The sanctions also target state-owned companies, including those in the field of defence. And the EU proposes adding 2 Russian private banks to the sanctions entities list. Russians are prohibited from depositing over $1.1 million in EU banks. Europe has also imposed measures that will increase Russian borrowing costs, raise inflation and gradually erode Russian industrial base. The EU has banned the sale of aircraft spare parts to Russian airlines, thus degrading one of Russia's key sectors and its connectivity. And it's limiting Russian access to crucial technology and suspending all Russian diplomatic visas.
Have maximum impact on the Russian economy and the political elite, and it is built of 5 pillars. The first is the financial sector, second the energy sector, the third is the transport sector, fourth are export controls and the ban of export financing, and finally visa policy. Let me highlight some of the most important points.
Well, for more on this, we have Giles Gibson joining us live from Moscow. Giles, we've seen the advance of the Russian troops towards the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. What's the latest situation in Kyiv at the moment?
Yeah, Nick, the situation in the city is looking increasingly dire. We are getting lots of reports now about explosions as well as gunfire being heard right in the historic city centre of Kyiv. Also, so many photos, videos coming out of the city showing the damage to buildings, including residential buildings, from these missiles that have just been pounding the city for hours and hours now. We've also been hearing from the Russian Ministry of Defence here in Moscow saying that they have actually taken the western side of Kiev, blocked, in their words, the western side of Kiev, which is the closest side to Poland and the European Union. The Russian Ministry of Defence also saying that they have taken a critical airport just outside of the Ukrainian capital. Of course, with Russian troops now appearing to encircle the Ukrainian capital, there is a lot of concern and a lot of questions about where Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, is. He has said in the last few hours that he's going to be staying in the Ukrainian capital. We've had reports at this stage, unconfirmed, that he has actually moved to a bunker as Russian troops get closer and closer.
So, Giles, even with the Russian forces very much closing in on the Ukrainian capital, the Kremlin is saying that it's open for talks.
Yeah, that's right. We've been hearing from Dmitry Peskov, the spokesperson for President Putin, talking about how the Kremlin, Russia, is open to holding negotiations, talks with the Ukrainians in the capital of Belarus, Minsk. We've also heard in previous hours from a Ukrainian government official talking about how they are willing to discuss becoming neutral in terms of whether they want to become a member of NATO or not. Also, another key bit of diplomacy going on in the last few hours. We've had reports from Chinese state media saying that Vladimir Putin has had a telephone conversation with the Chinese president Xi Jinping, and Chinese state media saying that Xi told Putin that he supports negotiations going on between the Ukrainians and the Russians. But Nick, I have to say, all of that we were just talking about, these reports about Russian forces getting closer and closer to Kyiv, these horrifying images coming out of the city, diplomacy, talks, that kind of thing, they just feel extremely far away at this point.
Thank you, Giles. That was Giles Gibson joining us live from Moscow.